Okay, so I'll just give a quick introduction and then I'll get into my slides. So my name's Jason. I work at HallWilcox. As I mentioned, it's a law firm. We're about 700 people nationally, including lawyers and support staff. And we've had Yammer for quite a long time, so we've had it for years and years, but I actually started with this organization about 2 years ago. So all the progress we've made with Yammer is all my doing. I take full responsibility for that. Anyway, I was happy to attend SWOOP Chat last year, and last year we had, just to give you a bit of context of our Yammer story, we went from about mid 40% active users to about 60 to 70% active users in about 12 months. And now this year's story is about maintaining that level of activity on our Yammer network. So we're slightly, I guess you could call us mature. And yeah, let's get into the slides. Okay, so today's presentation is how employee engagement leads to better business processes. That's a fancy title, but a lot of my slides are just going to be practical examples from our own Yammer network. So let's get into it. So quiz. What is the reason for the spike in activity? So you've got, this is our activity, and then giant spike between 25 April and 16 May. Okay, so earlier, have a think about it. I'll give you some.
Related to a political event?
Not political. It's related to a date.
Sporting?
So, okay, so before I show you the answer, Kai mentioned before that our managing partner, Tony, bought all the lights, right? You remember he said, no, that's not the answer. That's not the answer. So the first time Tony made magic happen, he made lightning strike basically. He ignited our network, and he said, if this post gets 400 likes, we'll give you a day off. And then we got huge engagement. But this happened actually this year, and the date is actually Mother's Day. So on Mother's Day, Tony, our managing partner, made a post and basically gave a really heartwarming story about his mother and why he appreciates his mother. And this is a slightly edited post. He went after his mother story. He's given his regular update, but I've kind of just censored all that out. But here you can see, or you can't see, that he's received 114 likes, and also he received 23 replies to this post of people telling stories about why their mother was the best in the world. And so this was a really good example of an authentic post from the top guy on Yammer who's using it, modeling the behavior, and people have just kind of outpoured stories of their own mothers. And there's a picture of Tony and his mum. And you can see that's a giant spike in our activity as well. Okay. I was hoping you guys could read this. The question is, why was this an engaging post? I'll just read the post. So William Moore has said, hi everybody, interesting day yesterday. I was invited to present a segment on Melbourne Radio, 3AW with blah, blah, blah. And we discussed Australia's 5th largest lender. Macquarie, Bank West, Suncorp. No, it's actually the bank of mum and dad. And then he goes into describing, the interest that he got on the radio interview, and then finally he wraps up his post and he says, "I'll be making an update again in 2 weeks. Just need to work out the topic. Suggestions, anyone? Question mark. Enjoy your Friday." And then there's a picture of him being interviewed on the radio. So, why was this an engaging post? There's a question there. Okay, so let's go through some of the. So, he had a hook question introducing the topic first. He actually provided an audio recording. He uploaded the interview that everyone could then download and listen to. And the partner has asked for suggestions, prompting others to reply. So he's actually asking people for their responses, and then he eventually gets 9 replies and also 100 likes.
Is this a syndicate?
Yeah, he's a banking and finance partner.
So the fact that he was very personal as well.
Yeah, it's a personal story. Yeah,
It's relatable, lots of people can relate to.
yeah, people can relate. It's relatable, exactly. Okay, next slide. Okay, again, you can't read this, but so let me summarize. Quiz, why was this an engaging post? Basically, we've got another partner talking about Chinese New Year, and basically the theme is Chinese New Year, and then people have kind of replied, posted some pictures here and here, and Tony has responded here. Tony's our managing partner. So, any ideas why this would be an engaging post?
Because the managing partner.
That's one of the reasons, yeah, responded.
It's got food in it.
It's got food in it. That's a relatable topic, that's right. So the answers that I put here are, it's a diversity and inclusion topic, so inclusive. The managing partner has replied to the post, and it's got great photos in the comments prompting more reactions. This photo alone of one family's feast got 40 likes by itself. So just a single photo reply. Okay, quiz. Should HR ban workplace dress codes? What do you guys think? Here's a link to an article that says 1/5 of staff would prefer to work for a company with less formal dress codes. So this is the story of, this is another example post that was made on our Yammer network. This is a lawyer, and she says, I've been unable to attend a session, however, has anyone raised a dress for your day policy? I know a lot of other professional services firms are moving towards this. And 30 people like this post, 300 people have seen it, and basically there's a lot of discussion here, about 27 replies, and then we've got our director of HR responding here saying, thanks everyone for your feedback. You will see today we've launched Dress for Your Day. So actually this is the follow-up post, which was, so this initial post was made on May 17, 2018. And then higher up in this reply chain, we got a response from the HR team saying, look, it's end of financial year now, we're really swamped, but we hear you and we'll get back to you. And then finally, in July, after end of financial year, we basically implemented Dress for Your Day at HallWilcox. So this was all from a Yammer post, and we changed our dress codes. Everyone knows when they've got client meetings, and they can dress accordingly. Okay, what has changed with senior leadership? So here's a bit of a self-promotion. There's a link there to a blog post that basically I sit down with Tony and Sumit and ask them questions. So, in summary, what's changed? We always had weekly updates from our senior leaders. We had Tony's McWrap, his surname starts with Mc, so he calls it the McWrap. And Sumit, he's our COO, he writes a Sumit smoothie. And so every week we either get an update from one of those, or if they're both out of the office, they'll delegate someone else to give a weekly update. So that's one, that hasn't changed. What has changed is the overall amount of @mentions on our network has increased significantly. Not only are these top 2 Yammer superstars @mentioning people, but they're modeling that, and other people are also @mentioning people into conversation. They're having conversations. Senior leaders are posting and responding more. So here, actually Pete as well as myself are featured on the Microsoft Yammer blog. So one of the blog posts that I made is the interview with these guys. You can check it out on the Microsoft Yammer blog. So my actual position is a technology trainer, and I work as part of the learning and development team. Yammer is great, a great place for social learning. we have a Yammer group called Technology Tips and Tricks, where people post their questions about technology, and I like to post tips and tell people, hey, are you using this program properly? Did you know this feature exists? And that would be great if I wanted to be a broadcaster and I could just spam people every day with a tip. However, when you see this example over here, you can see that it's actually social learning. Someone's posted a question. They've said, I know this is really basic, but at the cost of widespread humiliation, what is the shortcut for replace in Word, right? And I could have gone in there and told that person that, but somebody else has posted, Control H. Good one, I always use Control F and I click replace. They're teaching themselves. It is my job, but it's not me, the one answering every question in there. They're teaching each other and sharing that knowledge on Yammer. Another way you can teach people, animated GIFs. So when you think of animated GIFs, you probably think, oh, that's a funny rabbit, or there's another meme that's animated. But you can create animated GIFs that teach people a process, or teach people how to do something on their computer. So it's actually running right now. This is teaching you how to turn down the volume on your speakers so that when your phone rings on your computer, it's not obnoxiously loud. And there's another blog post called The Future of Yammer is Animated, and That's Okay. Okay, so this is live events before live events existed. What people used to call back in the day Yam Jams was you would have a corporate event and somebody would give you an hourly update and say, hey, this is what we're looking at now. Now we're talking about this. Now somebody else is standing up and speaking. So this was the equivalent of live events before live events existed. And that's great. You can still do that. And now we've got Yammer Live. Well, that's what I call it when I run a Yammer Live session. So I've actually used the live events feature. This is a relatively new feature in Yammer to sit down with various people in the business and just do a kind of get to know you interview. We sit down maybe 10 minutes, and prior to actually going live, we reach out to their team members and say, hey, we're going to go live on Friday at lunchtime. If you have a question, post it before or during the event. Then we go live, we ask the questions that have been asked, and we also look out for questions that come in live. And it's just a great way to get to know people and various people that perhaps you might not meet, or you might not see because they're in a different office. So yeah, live events can be used for getting to know your people, and Microsoft like to use this for their COO or CEO connection. So if you want to get to know your senior leadership, or have them have an interview, live events is great for that. Okay, and actually here is an example of how I'm using SWOOP to look at that person's profile, find out who they're interacting with on SWOOP or on Yammer, and then the people closest to them will be included in the questions. I'll mention these people and say, look, we're going to go live with this person, and you know them or you've interacted with them pretty well. Do you have a question to ask them for the interview? So there it is. SWOOP network map identifies the Yammer connections. Questions are gathered on Yammer before the event with @mentions. Questions can also be asked live. The best thing about Yammer Live is no video editing required. All right, so what you get is what you get. We went live 10 minutes. You're going to watch 10 minutes of live, and sometimes somebody will walk in the room and it's live, and you're like, okay, let's just roll with it. It's live. And the good thing about this is it's connected with Microsoft Stream, which means that the recording is available for other people to watch who weren't able to watch it live. So they can watch it back whenever it's convenient for them. Okay, quiz time. What is a common topic people can relate to? Don't worry about the second one now. What is a common topic people can relate to? Sport, food, pets. We'll get to pets. Anything else? I'm looking for music. Okay, so here is a post made in a group called HallWilcox. And basically, they're talking about what is the best soundtrack ever? Top Gun, or another login. Basically, it's just a question, what is the best soundtrack ever? And then this thread goes forever. Okay, and then people keep, and that's not the end of it, it still keeps going. Oh, okay, double click, and we're back. So you can see people, everybody's getting in on this discussion about what music is it they like, and also they're using animated GIFs in the traditional social sense. Why is it not this one? Next slide. Okay, what is another common topic people can relate to?
Pets.
Pets. All right, let's go to pets. Now my clicker's not working. Okay, so this is a screenshot of Group Insights. I'm not sure if you're aware, but you can actually click the Group Insights button on a Yammer group, and you'll get kind of detailed information. So what's interesting about the pets group at HallWilcox is we have 254 members of the group, and also 393 non-members looking at pets. So we have a lot of secret animal lovers. They're just there enjoying, cute animals. So the group insights can tell you not only members of the group, but activity from outside the group. So you shouldn't be worried so much about the group numbers anymore, because people are going in there and actually looking at it, and it's just not registering them as being a member, but they're still viewing the content if the content is interesting to them. All right, SWOOP Group tab provides group level details like hashtag topic tracking. So if you're trying to run a campaign, SWOOP is really good at tracking that. Oops, went too far. Okay, so here are some topics taken from a particular group. This is an example of hot topics. It tells you what topics have been used. These are the topics from the animal group. Response rate, posts with likes. So you can see everybody really likes animals. And then the most engaging posts. So maybe that's not so interesting for you in the context of pets, but if you want to find out what works, the most engaging post section will be able to point you and let you know, okay, these posts are obviously very engaging and causing a lot of discussion. Maybe we should have more similar discussions there. So, case study, SWOOP group benchmarks. We had a problem where a change manager wanted detailed stats on the Smarter Law Yammer group, and they wanted to know the number of posts, people who post often, trending topics, and the solution was SWOOP group benchmarks. So these statistics are, you just go to the group level and you can find out the community health level, influential people within that group, most engaging posts once more. So if you want to look at a group by group kind of focus, the SWOOP group benchmarks is quite handy. Okay, Enterprise tab. All right, so the Enterprise tab gives you kind of an overall look at your entire network, and you can't really see the lines here, but it's kind of going like this. This is 60%, and it goes down over the Christmas break, and now we've brought it back up. This is April 2019. You've got your app mention index. I was talking about how the number of app mentions has gone up over time. So they've included the mention index now to give you an idea of how many app mentions you're using on your network. And you can see here's another self-promotion Tony is number 1 as the most influential person, and I'm number 2.
You've got time, Jason. You can make it. You can make it.
Okay. And one other thing is the group activity. So I think there was a comment earlier about you should have one social network in your top 10 or something. Somebody mentioned something like that. Well, we've definitely got animals at HallWilcox. It's our number 2 popular group. Number 1 at the moment is Melbourne office. But actually we had the reverse feedback from our senior leaders. Our senior leader feedback was, when we started 2 years ago, they were like, there's too many social groups. Too many, way too many. We need to see the business value. And we've turned that around. There's one social group in the top 10. Everything else is office, business related. So,
can I interrupt? Say, how did you turn that around? Because that's not an easy question, but
yeah. So I think what we did was we had basically what I like to call the wake-up call. I looked at the stats the stats that we got out of SWOOP. We looked at the usage. So about November 2017, we took a look at all the stats, and I put all the stats into a spreadsheet with kind of grouping them into active users, percentages of active users, inactive users, this kind of thing. And then I gave a presentation to the ELT on our current Yammer usage, and we combined tips and tricks to address the feedback that we've been receiving. Like, did you know you can change your feed to following only and set that cog to remember my feed selection, because a lot of people were complaining about there's too much noise and not enough signal in Yammer. So basically I gave a presentation to the ELT. They were very happy with that presentation, and then I followed that up with going into the team meetings at the request of the ELT to go into each of the team meetings and give a more customized wake-up call to each of the sections. So that kind of helped increase awareness about, how Yammer could be used for not just social things. And we weren't trying to say stop posting pictures of dogs and cats, but we were trying to show people that, one, are you having conversations? Are you celebrating successes? If you have a success story, maybe you should post it on the Yammer. You can praise somebody, and you can ask a question and get an answer. We're doing quite good with, at the start, people were feeling it's hard to ask a question. They don't want to be vulnerable. But once we got a few people asking business-related questions and getting business-related answers, it just kind of snowballed from there. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to share with you guys today. Did anyone have any questions?
So you can get lawyers to collaborate. Isn't that divine design? Any questions for Jason?
is there any statistics